offer a motion that Ms. Kim Adams be immediately suspended through December the 5th with pay due to insubordination, pending further investigation. We're also asking that Ms. Shannon Wagner meet with Ms. Adams on 11/19/24 in order to retrieve any personal belongings that she may need during that time frame. She's also asked to surrender all keys and IDs and any other property of Jones County during the period of suspension. Ms. Adams is asked to appear at the next VOA regular board meeting to be held on 12/5/24 at 4 p.m.
It has been properly motioned. Do I hear a second?
A second, I'm sorry.
It has been properly motioned and second on the motion. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hands. Those against, by the same sign. Motion carries. We'll read the motion again. You clear? Clear. The next item on the agenda is item number 7, which is public comments.
Chris Widener, Chairman, excuse me, Chris Widener, Chairman, Jones County Board of Commissioners. I heard a mention of September 3rd. If we had a work session at night. Mr. George stood right here where I'm at. Got to tell him about their fault. He got to a point of his conversation, he said, if you don't believe what I'm telling you right now, ask my staff. Look at your recording. Ask my staff. 2 staff members come forward. Bill came forward and then Ms. Kim came forward. Everything they came forward to us on was the truth. Why was the truth? The state has verified that it was the truth. Mr. Andrews, you remember about a month and a half prior to that, I gave you a phone call. Remember that phone call I had with an HR issue? I had an HR issue happen to me as far as hostile workplace. Chairman of the Jones County Board of Commissioners cannot handle. Mr. Andrews was my appointment. I handed it to him. I said, I need you to check on something that was handed to us with HR. We've got a complaint. Also told him, I said, there's another employee that you reached out to confirm what was going on. And you did that. Ms. Andre, you reached out to her. You called her. And she confirmed it. I'm disappointed that we're even to this point. Very disappointed. Thank y'all.
Chairman,
Sure.
let me say this. At your request, I called this individual. I don't know this individual. I don't even know this individual's reputation. I talked to this individual about supporting the office, even able to offer, maybe her expertise could be utilized in a part-time status. That was the nature of my conversation with this individual. It didn't get into personalities or anything like that.
Did you reach out to HR?
No.
Okay. You had an HR complaint that apparently y'all didn't get. Your chairman at the time had it.
Well, I didn't get a complaint from HR. But let me just say this: I think on several meetings, HR has been present here, and we haven't received anything. I haven't received anything.
I received it.
Okay.
Yep, I received it. I'm disappointed. Very disappointed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sam Kitchen, Vice Chairman, Jones County Commission. I echo a lot of what Chairman just said. It's hard to believe that we can sit here and say, we didn't know. You all have annual training that teaches you what you should know to run this Board effectively. so you can't say you didn't know. I find it very ironic that the chairman is gonna make a comment to the only person that can give them legal advice to let them run the meeting as the chairman instead of, making chairman's advice. When you didn't reach out for the last 12 weeks that we've been going through this mess, hadn't reached out at all. You say you didn't know this, you didn't know that. You didn't ask either. And you had the chairman of our board contacting you. You had emails being sent back and forth from where they were sent to our HR director, but yet nothing's done except we didn't know. You knew on September the 3rd, when those staff members came out and said something, you should have known there was gonna be a hostile work environment from that point on. Everybody that came up here earlier tonight and talked said there was not a problem. They were all friends. They made cakes for each other, gave cakes to each other. Everybody was happy. Everybody was good until they came out and said something. You don't think that is part of the reason why there's a hostile work environment? Because that divided the department? That's nobody's responsibilities but Tony's and y'all's to know that's a problem and not do anything about it. Because if you didn't think when they came out that there was gonna be a problem, and then the department fall apart like it does, because everybody in there said there was not a problem until then. Except for years ago, when the people that left for the same reason. So, but I do wanna clarify one thing, Chairman, you've called for votes tonight, asked for a hand raising, that's a roll call vote. But you're not raising your hand, are you not voting, or?
I'm not voting only in case of a tie.
Okay, so when there's only 3 people on this board, you gotta have 3 people to make a quorum, right?
That's right.
In order to make a quorum, is he required to vote?
The law says that the
I
Board of Tax
appreciate you
Assessors,
can quote the law now, and you didn't know what the attorney was gonna tell you 5 minutes ago.
if you finish, you ask me a question,
Okay,
and I'm answering your question.
okay,
And I'm not gonna raise my voice like you do,
all right,
because I got pretty good hearing, okay? And I hope you do too, if so, I raise my voice too.
that's whatever you
But
want.
according to what I read, and I refer to the attorney, the Board of Tax Assessors consists of no less than 3, no more than 5 members,
And a quorum is still 3 of a board.
of a 5-member board.
Okay, quorum is not 3 of a 3-member board.
No. 3-member board is, the 3 members here is a quorum, but you asked me, and I told you what the minimum number of tax assessors are for a board.
I didn't ask that, I asked what a quorum was and what it takes.
One
to have
more
a
than
vote.
half, 3, okay?
How many does it take to pass a vote?
2.
Okay.
2.
Uh,
But let me say this, in reading the state law, it says that when there's a vacancy on the Board of Tax Assessors, then the Board of Commissioners should immediately work to replace those members.
I'll push it back on you, have you
I'm
asked us
just
to
telling you
replace
what
it?
the language says, sir.
I appreciate
Okay.
you reading, if you
I
read the
don't
state law
report
like
these
that.
members, okay?
Okay. Councilwoman, I would ask that you research that and see if that 3 is an actual vote for this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll-
But I echo the chairman, I am completely disappointed in this board. I will make one other comment, since we got 10, and this is the last time we got 10 minutes, it looks like. There was a comment made about the meeting here. I think one of the ladies in the office made a comment about some of the staff members saying that I wanted to fire them all. I think Ms. Morgan said something about it before. I went back and listened to that meeting. And what I said was, we've got a problem, and we wanna know what the problem is, and we want it fixed. If it's this board, that's the problem, it needs to be fixed. If it's the department head is the problem, it needs to be fixed. If it's the staff is the department, it needs to be fixed. And I stand on that all day long,
Yes.
whatever the problem is. But I will remind y'all, the head of this process sits in these seats.
You understand?
And I asked you 3 times, this is the 3rd time, what are y'all gonna do? And your answer is to suspend.
We just did something.
Yeah, you suspended the one person that brought the problem to light. That's an embarrassment. I will echo what James Collins said before. I would recommend all 3 of y'all resign your position because you're incompetent and you're an embarrassment to this county. Period.
Well, let me tell you this, sir. I thank you for your comments. I don't agree with them. But
You don't have to.
but you can say what you want to say.
That's right.
It's an open meeting, okay? Thank
That's
you
right.
again.
And I did, thank
You
you.
finished? Thank you.
Yes, sir, I am. Thank
Yes, sir. Anybody else?
first get appointed, you have 6 months to have your 40-hour course to serve on this board. You go to Caveat each year, whether it's in Athens or you go to Jekyll, whichever you choose. In that 40-hour course, they teach you rules, regulations, State Department of Revenue is set forth to operate by. I think they reference in that to look to your county for anything else in the policies and procedures manual. I'm disappointed in the last meeting that there was a gentleman that sat right there, was told he only had 2 minutes. He knew he had 10 minutes. I'm disappointed in that. I would like a written apology from the Board of Tax Assessors to that taxpayer. He's not in my district, but he needs an apology, written and hand-delivered to him. And in the past meeting, we talked about going to a smaller room so we could pass papers closer together. You know, so be it. Easy fix. You sit closer together. And I would worry more about what's on those papers so we can pass our state audits and pass other policies and procedures. Because I was running a piece of property today I saw on sale on Facebook. I took 40%, did the face market, did a little sales ratio on it. If it sells for that, 21.4. And it went up $30,000 this year, but it didn't make the mark of what the state said to go to from what, $40-something a square foot to 60, where they said go to 120, we went to 60. It doesn't cut the mustard. We're in trouble. We are in trouble. But we worry about passing papers, I worry about what's on those papers. The state says do one thing, and we do something else, we're gonna be in trouble. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Let me, Chairman, unless, again, skimming very quickly the policies and procedures specific to this board, unless there's something I'm missing in my skimming, it would require the majority vote of the total board. So it would require 3 votes for you to pass anything,
All right,
unless there's something that I'm missing as a quick skim.
But wouldn't the total board be 3?
No, ma'am, the total board is still 5. You're a 5.
I mean, as in what
You're-
it should be.
Yes.
Okay.
But to pass anything and have the quorum, you've got to have 3 that vote alike.
All right, so what we need to do, Commissioner Martin, you wanna go ahead?
Oh, no,
Go
I'll let
back.
you finish.
Yes, sir.
We'll retreat on those items that I didn't vote, and we'll reissue, okay? Commissioner Martin.
So, I don't remember how many years ago, but I know Tony has offended some people, whether it be brash talk or the nature of his demeanor. But that's not reason to take off or fire somebody. There have been a lot of properties that have been put on the roll, and some of those same individuals have some concerns. These properties were not on the rolls for what, 5, 6, 7 years? You don't get commended for that. You get slapped on the wrist, evidently. There's been talk about addressing some of the issues, and the only thought that I had was that you had to incite what was incited on September 3rd for it to happen, because you couldn't do it yourself. There's been a long issue with maybe how he does business or who it impacts. And the reality is that at the end of the day, more properties have been put on the tax roll since he's been here than any other time. And at the end of the day, we went through state, and then we had an arbitration hearing. And at that last hearing, they said that he was clear and that the new sales ratio was 33%, which was higher than the 31. Then the data that's used to see if he's sales chasing was within range, so he was not sales chasing. The other data and I don't remember all the numbers or the names, was also in line, which said that whatever he was doing was congruent in the cell study. So, if that is the case, and Jones County was vindicated, as was the department, then the events of September 3rd were not warranted. But it happened. In that same meeting, said that we'll protect you in the hallway. Yes, ma'am. I was standing right there, and I heard.
If there's a whistleblower.
Correct.
I've
Thank
got
you.
to protect the county.
Amen.
I don't protect an employee.
Amen. They're counties too, right? So it gave the impression that there was some wrongdoing because it wasn't to protect him or them. It was the individuals that came up to speak. If they had been whistleblowing and the office was out of order, the arbitrators would have said so, and the county would not have been vindicated. That's the problem I have. Where did it start? To my fellow commissioners, I understand there's a frustration, but at the end of the day, we don't have to stoke any fires because there was so much commentary about the sky is falling, the world is at an end, and we're going to have to pay this money back and be in debt this and be charged this parcel. None of that came to fruition. So I know that the fire was stoked here. And when they came, they added more to it, which is much ado about nothing. If it was my decision, I'd fire them both. Because you can't usurp my authority in my department and still have a job. I know you wouldn't do it, Sam. There's no way, because it causes a problem in the office. And it did, because they thought they had whistleblower protection. And what happened was an innocent bystander got caught in the fray. I don't know what would make an officer hit somebody. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand why someone who would file a complaint on a paper that she printed on a Thursday running to the Human Resource Department will wait till Friday morning to take it to the authorities. Walking past Human Resources and the sheriff. Make it make sense. As a commissioner of this county, and I've been here the longest, I'm highly disappointed in us because we had a way to manage this. Never have I been here and an employee got arrested. Doesn't make sense. I don't get it. But tonight you all ruled and you were favorable. That was nice. Wouldn't have been me, because I've seen people fired for less. I hope that this department does what's needed to be done to set every mind clear and every record straight. And I hope you go to $106, $130 a square foot. Then everybody in this county will have something to say, because then it'll really be an issue. And I understand his compassion for trying not to hurt the taxpayers, and he said that. I didn't feel like, and the state said, that's not your job. And so he was wrong in that regard. Let us do our job. Bring the values up to 106, 130, and then let us roll back the millage rate. And let the gnashing of teeth happen on our watch. 3-person board, it's ironic that the only incompetent board is a black board. I'm going to say it. When, and I defend it.
That's wrong.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
When I sat here and y'all allowed that zoning and planning to put containers in my district, but you won't allow them to put them in your district, that's a problem. Earlene should not sit on 2 boards. That's in the ordinances, but y'all allow it for years. Y'all know what's right and y'all do what's wrong. And y'all allowed it. When I said that board was incompetent and need to be replaced, nobody thought it because it was okay because it was in my district. But it's wrong. It's in the ordinance, clearly.
Commissioner Martin.
I'm sorry, is that 10 minutes?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Dang it, my bad. Sorry.
Chairman, I don't think I used my 10 minutes unless it's out of order. I would like something else to say.
How many more minutes do
He
was
was
at
at 5:26.
Thank you. The reason I called Commissioner Martin out for being wrong when he wants to bring race into an issue, nobody fired the 2 white people that were on this board. They chose to leave. So that has nothing to do with us. When he talked about stoking fires up here, that came after 2 employees that Tony asked to come out and talk and tell us what the problem was that he was blaming on the state. So that's another misrepresentation of the truth. The other parts of the story that really sound great, although not very true from what I heard or anybody else in that room, the state never said we were vindicated of anything. The state said you went up 2%, but we are still far below the 40% that we should be at.
Not the state, the arbitrators.
The arbitrators, their only decision was to listen to it. They went into a closed session. They came out with a decision to raise it up 2 points. They didn't say anybody was vindicated. They didn't say the state was doing the county was doing the right thing. They didn't say Tony was great.
Show that they
We're
were
gonna
not
have
out of
order
order.
from this board and that board.
Not out of order.
It is out of order.
All I know is we have failed the state requirements for the 2nd year in a row and looking that way for the 3rd year according to what they've told us. So when we don't do anything for 2 years, we're required to do something. We are a lot better than we were from 31.4 to 33.9. That's obvious. But we're nowhere near where we're supposed to be based on the state guidelines. And for us to say that we were vindicated by that, we weren't vindicated by anything. We were told what our problems are, and they still are. And the only stoking that was done was after everything started blowing up. And I have no problem being told I stoked a fire, not when a fire needs to be stoked. The one thing I heard from somebody tonight was this department will never be the same. I hope not. I hope it is never the same because this department is where it's got us to where we are now. This department, this board, it starts at the top, goes all the way down. I agree. I wouldn't have fired the 2 of them tonight. I would have already fired somebody.
Thank you, Mr. Kitchens.
Mr. Alexander,
Did that close out our,
I don't think I used my full 10 minutes. Could I say something?
sure, you went on the call. You just providing information for personnel. This is public comments now.
Commissioner Martin said that we're totally vindicated. In the last meet, when I got up here the first time I got up here, September 3rd, I said our grades were all over the place. They were. I said we had way too many overrides due to sales chasing. They were. I said we needed to start doing sales ratio studies instead of just throwing numbers at neighborhoods. In the last 2 meetings, Tony has stood up here and said he's fixing the sales ratios. We're starting to do sales ratios. He said we're going to we changed the grades. Everything I said, he said we're now working on correcting it. How y'all can not see the problem is beyond me. He stood up there and said that he is fixing the 3 main problems I outlined. Are y'all that blind you cannot see it? It's on record. It's on YouTube. Look at it.
Let's pause for a second. I asked for civility. I asked for people to be of calm minds and calm thoughts. I can tell you at this point the chair is totally disappointed with those speakers because they have not shared fair or civility in their comments. They've done all they negatives. For that reason, we're not a lapdog. I'm not one, and I'm not gonna be one of them. And I'm gonna say this, hopefully in the future, if you can't retain yourself with a certain level of fairness and civility, then we, as a board, will turn a blind eye and a mute ear. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Can you identify yourself?
Yeah, I'm Elizabeth Williams. I live in Gray, Georgia. I am so incredibly disappointed in everything, in a lot of things. I raised my children. I've had children of all colors. Right now I have 7. And I've had every color under the sun. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I've always looked at the facts. I don't care what color the facts are. That's what I'm looking at. I'm a researcher, and I'll look at the research. And I think that's what needs to be done here. Look at the facts. Take out any comment you could possibly have written down somewhere, whatever. Look at the facts. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers on the paper. Look at what the numbers are going to be. Make your decisions from that. All this hoopla about black, white, whatever, that's crap. It's the numbers. Numbers don't lie. They don't. I know statistics back and forth, left and right. Numbers don't lie. And that's what needs to be looked at. All these comments, all this whatever, that's just drama. And I always teach my kids, you stay out of it. You look at the numbers. Whatever those numbers are, make your decisions on that. This drama's too much. We're a county. We don't deserve all this drama. We deserve you all to look at the numbers and make the decisions accordingly. That's what we deserve as taxpayers. We don't care about your drama, don't care about their drama, nobody's drama. We care about the numbers and how that affects us. Especially when you're a mom with 7 freaking kids. You care about the numbers. I don't care about none of your drama, not one bit of it. I do care about being treated fairly and equally, as we all do. That's our right as United States citizens of America, is to be treated fairly and equally. And we don't want to be told that a blind eye is going to be turned. We're expecting you all to take it all into account when it comes to the numbers. That man is telling you numbers. Take in the numbers. Put aside any feelings you have, whatever. I get it. But when people that know more than you do, take in the numbers. Listen to them. That is the one thing I've learned in life. Listen to the people that know more than I do. Listen to them. I've listened to y'all. I've been listening to y'all for quite some time. Y'all don't know everything. They don't know everything. But the numbers don't lie. I've never had a math equation that's worked out correctly be a lie. Never. I've never ran statistics and had it be a complete lie when it's ran correctly. Never. And I've been doing it a long time. A very long time. Look at your numbers. Make your decisions the right way. And just, my God, leave some drama out of it and be respectful to us taxpayers, because we deserve you to look at the numbers and do what's right. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Anyone else? Well, that'll close out the public comment portion of our meeting. Now, Ms. Brody, we need to go back and re-vote on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. We need to restate them or just go back and identify the items? Since you said that.
You didn't vote on anything?
I didn't vote on anything, so I just need to go back and reaffirm those votes. If you just corrected us by reading the legal.
2 votes is not a valid vote.
Okay. And we follow legal counsel, and I thank you for that. So to correct that, then there are 5 items that we voted on. Well, really, we had 5 items that we voted on. So we need to restate those motions, or do we need to? How you advise us to do it?
I will tell you what I tell the Board of Commissioners. So when we get into our public comments, they can't go back and sort of bring back up something to vote on it. That's generally when something sort of gets added on, however. So it's a little bit of a tricky, perhaps gray situation. I don't know that it would be completely improper though, because when I tell them they can't vote on something after comments, it is usually a new matter that has come up during comments. And so if you want to move forward with addressing it tonight, then yes, you would have to, each item, have all three of you vote.
Okay, we'll do that. Since you brought it to our attention, now we know, right?
Yes,
And we don't wanna be in default.
because none of those votes would be valid.
Okay, so let me roll through these votes again. Chair calls for a motion on the approval of today's agenda. Do I hear a motion on that item?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Call for the vote, all show by raising your hands. Motion carries.
Did you raise your hand?
I did. The next item, approval of the minutes from the November 7th, 2024 regular and executive session. Chair calls for a motion.
I made a motion that we approve November 7th regular and executive session.
I hear a second on that
Second.
motion.
Second.
Call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Next item, approval of the time limit of 2 minutes for each taxpayer to address the Board of Tax Assessors at a meeting. This will update the policy and procedures manual.
So moved.
Have a properly moved. Do I hear a second?
I second.
It's been properly moved in second. Call for the vote and approval of this amendment. Raise your hand. The next item is approval of 4 VA homestead exemptions. Chair calls for a motion.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Properly motion is seconded. Call for the vote. All in favor, raise your hands. Chair calls for a approval of the executive session to address personnel issues. Do I hear a motion on that item? Do I hear a second?
I second.
Call for the vote. All in favor of that motion, please raise your hand. And the last item, I'm gonna defer to Ms. Shirley.
Get back into the regular session.
Okay. Chair calls for a motion to enter back into regular session. Do I hear a motion on that item?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
It's been properly moved in second. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Now defer to, Member Sherilyn to make a motion on the personnel issue.
Offer a motion that Ms. Kim Adams be immediately suspended with pay through December 5th due to insubordination pending further investigation. We are asking that Ms. Shannon Wagner meet with Ms. Adams on 11/19 in order to retrieve any personal belongings that she may need during that time frame. She is also asked to surrender all keys and IDs and any other property of Jones County during the period of suspension. Ms. Adams is asked to appear at the VOA regular board meeting to be held on 12/5/24 at 4 p.m.
It's been properly motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Chair calls for an adjournment of tonight's meeting. Do I hear a motion on that item?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Do I hear a second? It's been properly motion and second for adjournment. This meeting is adjourned.